Hi, everybody. Hi, Jim. How are you? Welcome
Uh,
back. Everything's going okay over there?
yeah,
Yeah. All right, cool. Hi, Sandy. How are you tonight? Hi, Mary. Hi, Kate Barbara. Right. All right. So basically, we have kind of a repeat of some of the other videos I have done because we're covering um, other songs, mysterious songs and singers and Orion, and I have covered this a couple times. So we're going to actually just read it right from the book today and share some of the songs that she has mentioned and the interview as well off of Spelling on the Stone. So we're going to get going on this. Hi, Gary. How are you tonight? All right. So I guess without further ado, we're going to get started because there's a lot here. Quite a few songs here. So she's saying, um, have other mystery songs and singers appeared who sound like Elvis? Answer. Songs of tribute have appeared as well as mystery singers and mystery songs, all underlining the premise that Elvis Presley is alive. So besides Civil Nora, which we had covered in chapter 8 and actually a couple videos here, um, other singers sounding like Elvis have raised speculations about a living Elvis. Tribute songs also have been written, the premise being that Elvis is alive. Many of these songs are not necessarily sung by an Elvis voice, but their lyrics do raise questions. Consider the following items printed in the Tennessean, December 3rd, 1988. All right, so mystery shrouds new Elvis and new Elvis. Okay. What is his real name? How old is he? Where is he from? Promoters of his upcoming appearance in Chillicothe, Ohio insist they don't know. New Elvis is new Elvis, said Gene Cash, owner of A&A Records, the Lewisburg, Tennessee label on which New Elvis' first single recording. You Know Me was released in early September. When radio stations started playing the record, the people all were all calling the stations and saying, "Play the new Elvis record." They heard it so much. That's what we decided to go with. What's scary is the man looks like Elvis and sings like Elvis. Cash, who said he's been in the music business for about 20 years, does not believe Elvis is alive, although sometimes I wonder, dot, 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 I see this man who looks and sings and sounds like him. New Elvis has reportedly been identified as Alan Rowe of Nashville, Tennessee, originally from Texas. Even if this is so, it is still intriguing to note that the lyrics of the song You Know Me, the premise of Elvis Presley being alive, points made in the song indicate that its subject was born in Tupelo, Mississippi, became king of rock and roll, died but is alive and free, threw it all away, would never have left but couldn't stay. He says, though the stage is bare, I'm still standing there. So in September of 1989, I received a letter and record from Paul Ritchie of the Ritchie Music Group. Ritchie is the brother-in-law of the singer Tammy Wynette. He cut the Tribute 45 recording, Wherever You May Be, again illustrating that many in the world of music believe Elvis may be alive. And this is the letter. Dear Gail, I hope you enjoy this record. I think it is very tastefully written. One of the writers believes Elvis is definitely alive. One does not believe he is. And due to the facts I am aware of, I believe it is very possible that he is. For whatever all that means, enjoy. So here are the lyrics to the song, Wherever You May Be, written by Paul Ritchie, Barry Paul Jackson, and Tony Day. Says, I remember exactly where I was when I first heard the news, driving to my office down South 16th Avenue. It was a hot 16th of August, but I began to feel a chill. When the word came from Graceland, it seemed the world stood still. To deal with life on life's terms sometimes can be tough. All the things fame and fortune brings just never is enough. You can't know what you've gone through until we walk in your shoes. But we do know you gave us more than we could ever give you. So wherever you may be, we still love you. Wherever you may be, you're still number one. If you feel you need forgiveness, that's already done. We hope you found your place in the sun. Known by millions, loved by all, can be a tough road to hoe. And should I ever meet you face to face, I'll just smile and say, hello. Now, some say they've seen you. As for me, I can't say. But however you found peace of mind, we accept it either way. Wherever you may be, we still love you. Wherever you may be, you're still number one. If you feel you need forgiveness, that's already done. We hope you found your place in the sun. So that's one example of, I guess, a song that she had gotten with the lyrics. And I'm going to put Jim back on here since we lost him already. So that's one example. I don't have a copy of that song. If anybody else does, good for you. I've never heard that song. As far as a new Elvis gentleman is concerned, I don't know. I looked up a new Elvis earlier, but I couldn't find anything. If so, it came from this artist named, she said on here, Alan Rowe. Now that I've seen, but I don't know. Anyway. So so now she's going to go into another recording, and we're going to go into this from LS Records, Spelling on the Stone. So there's a great deal of controversy over the 1988 release of Spelling on the Stone. So I have that song plenty of places on this channel. You guys can get that anywhere. I might finish with a quick little ending short or whatever for that song. So we're not going to do that, but we will be covering another I don't want to call it song, but it's not a recording from that album. So on the album, via radio interviews, and the following was related. All right, so I'm just going to give you that, and I'm going to play that right now, and we can listen to it, and then you'll see what I mean. Now, she had mentioned this interview that the man was around 200 pounds, salt and pepper hair, mustache, about 6 feet tall, sunglasses, came into LNS Records and handed this secretary the single. Okay, and then a couple months later, around December, he handed her the rest of the songs from the album. So the songs that I play quite often: Poor Heart, Only Child, Rock in a Hard Place, Everything's Taking Me Back, Father of the Bride, Hit the Bricks, Outside Looking In, and Resurrection. The first single, Left, and then, of course, Spelling on the Stone. So she gives us the lyrics to Spelling on the Stone. But I'm going to actually go over this one, which is the interview about how they got these recordings and the story behind it.
Hi, I'm Lee Stoller, the president of LS Records in Madison, Tennessee. The story goes, I was on the West Coast doing fair dates with Christy Lane and called my office for messages. My secretary said, Lee, you will not believe what happened today. She said, let me tell you the story. A limousine drives up, 4 guys gets out, and then this man steps out in black, with sunglasses on, a little over 6 feet tall, black with a lot of gray in his hair and a mustache. He comes in with his box under his arm. He said, "May I speak to Lee Stoller?" She said, "He's on the West Coast with Christy Lane." "Christy Lane is my favorite singer," he said. He said, "This is my new tape. I'd like to have Lee release it on LS Records." She said, "Fine." She took the box, and he noticed the book. He said, "Oh," he said, "that's Christy Lane's book, One at a Time. I read it the other day in Kalamazoo, Michigan. I was really fascinated by it. May I have a copy?" She said, "Certainly." He reached in his pocket, and that's when she noticed his gloves. He had 2 black leather gloves. On one was outlined a musical note. The other one, an outline of a guitar. And both of them in diamonds. She said, "Why, if they cost 1,000, they must have cost 100,000. I never saw diamonds like that before in my life." So when I got in a few days later, I listened to it. I said, "That is fantastic. It sounds like Elvis Presley. Who is it?" "That's the odd thing about it," she said. "He never said his name. He just assumed that I knew him and you would. Isn't his name on the box?" I said, "There's nothing except the title of the song, Spelling on the Stone." Why, this record has already made music history. It's the first record ever in the history of music that has been released without the name of the artist on it. You are now a part of history.
Hi, hello, Uncle Joe Cunningham of 920 Country, WMNI, Assistant Program Director, Music Director, and longtime radio personality here in the Buckeye State. And I've seen many songs come and go, many songs that you had lukewarm response to and instantaneous response to, such as the case of Spelling on the Stone. It was a song we featured on our Make It or Break It at 9:10 in the evening and had overwhelming response. We then picked it up from there and went with a interview and a feature of Elvis Presley and some of the doings of his life, again to overwhelming response. We've been using the record throughout the day on our station, and again, if we're not playing it, we're hearing from the listening audience they want to hear it. Spelling on the Stone, I believe it is something phenomenal.
Eddie Powell reporting from Columbus, Ohio, today conversing with Dave Siegel, a records promotion man. Dave, you've been in the record promotion business a long time.
Almost 32 years, Eddie. Absolutely.
Let's talk about a particular artist, Elvis. You worked on some of his records then. Now, the phenomenon, the song, Spelling on the Stone. Compare the two.
Well, let me just tell you that there are just a few, there are three real classes of records. There are hits, there are smashes, and then there are the phenomenon. This record is a phenomenon. Instant radio requests, heavy requests. Some people are telling me that it's the most requested record they've had since they've been in the radio business, ever. And when those phones light up like they do, and the calls come into the stores like they do, it's for real. This is absolutely amazing.
This is Dr. Bruce Nelson, KNUZ in Houston, Texas. A week or so ago, I walked out into the lobby of the radio station just to peek out the door, see what the weather was like. I was about an hour away from going on the air, and they were pretty busy in the reception area, and there was a gentleman standing there waiting his turn. He had a record in his hand, which is not all that unusual in a market the size of Houston, Texas. And he was a nice enough guy. He just asked me if I'd listened to his record, and if I liked his record, would I play it. After he left the radio station, I noticed that he got into a late 60s model, early 70s model pink Cadillac. A little eccentric, I thought. Curiosity got the best of me. I walked next door to a little room where we dub records onto cartridges and listened to the record, and instantly knew I had a record that I had to get on the air. I had no idea who it was, and it's been a record that's generated more telephone activity for us than anything we've experienced in the last 3 or 4 years.
This is Bonnie Whopper of Whopper Music Company in Harrisonburg, Virginia. That Spelling on the Stone, this is the most of any one record we've ever sold. I mean, ever sold.
The date to remember is December the 8th. I called my office from Florida. The secretary said, "Lee, you're not ready for this." 1,000 thoughts flooded my mind as I waited for the news. She said a silver Mercedes pulled in the drive today. 4 guys got out dressed in black. The 5th guy just had on blue jeans, a pink shirt, and a flight jacket. With a box under his arm, he came to the office. He said, I don't suppose Lee Stoller is in town. She said, you're right. He's in Florida doing a concert with Christy Lane. He said, well, he could not be in better company. He said, I wanted to thank Lee and everybody for accepting my new song, Spelling on the Stone. I heard and read a lot of good things about it. In this box now, as he laid it on the desk, he said, is 9 new songs. I would like to have Lee release this on LS. Then he noticed the book laying on the desk. He picked up the book, he looked at it, hesitated a minute, then he whispered, How to Save Your Own Troubled Marriage by Christy Lane. He choked, then said, May I please buy a copy? Perhaps I could have used this book a few years ago. The secretary said, I felt so sorry for him, I thought I'd cry. Then I noticed his white leather gloves. It had TCB in diamonds. He simply said, Thank you, ma'am, smiled, and left with his book.
That is the recording that was on the last song on the Spelling on the Stone album. That's the interview that Gail was mentioning in this book. So, okay. So, I'm also going to just give you the little tiny video clip. Now, we won't be able to hear my microphone or yours, Jim. It'll just go on. Like, it's 48 seconds long. The song, Spelling on the Stone. Just for the heck of it, because we are going to play it, talk about it. So I'm going to just do that little 40-something second clip, and then we will read what she's got here.
On the stone.
The legend lives, never dies. It's up to you
Sing the song.
to decide.
Say the word, and I'll come home. Check the spelling on the stone. Just check the spelling on my stone.
All right, so I think a major clue at the end of that song is when he says, on my stone. Okay, so one of the news articles that noted the Spelling on the Stone album cited a voice expert at the university who scrupulously tested the record and says he is certain it is Elvis singing. Voice experts whom I have contacted say the voice authenticating singing is inconclusive. Okay, so Rob Thompson, the so-called expert even called Graceland, talked to Elvis's uncle Vester, played the record for him. Vester reportedly told him, son, don't bet any money that Elvis is in that tune. According to my investigation, the writers registered on the songs on the label included Lee Stoller, and the song Spelling on the Stone's own writers are listed as Lee Strauss, Tony Crow, and Jimmy Young. And according to the May 1989 issue of Discoveries magazine, the mystery unidentified singer is Danny Willis. And Dan Willis is also listed as one of the writers on the cut of Resurrection. But there are some who believe 2 different voices are on that album. Who is Dan Willis anyway? However, and if there is another voice, who is it? Now, I have about 3 albums by Dan Willis in my closet over here, and I think I had done a video comparing. I think is this his voice? It might be something like that from Spelling on the Stone. You could check that out if you want. The only thing is the voice is very close in sound, but it's missing some nuances. It's missing some phrasing differences, pronunciation difference, and definitely feeling. So to me, it Dan Willis has a nice voice and has a nice tone, a tone that's somewhat similar to Elvis in a way, but not all the way. He doesn't go low. He's kind of got a higher sound voice, and he lacks that feeling in some of the stylistic stuff to me, anyway. So, Spelling on the Stone to me sounds almost every song sounds like Elvis to me. Some people also said it might have been Jimmy Ellis that sang some of those songs. But anyway, most of the people said Dan Willis. But I've also read on Linda's site that Elvis used a lot of different people to cover as a cover. So, like, he would record these mysterious songs using an alias and then giving credit to a different artist that sounds almost just like him or similar to him. So, like, for instance, Orion, Jimmy Ellis got all the credit for that. And, Dan Willis gets Spelling on the Stone, and Civil Nora, I think they ended up giving, I think it was John Cotner at one time. He said he was doing it, all that kind of thing. So he did do that. And of course, down in Mississippi, which we're going to cover now, in a minute, is another example. So, a fan, Ruth H. of Toronto, Canada, went to a Christy Lane concert a few years back, and she tells me before Spelling on the Stone was released, when the lights went down, she noted a man dressed oddly with a scruffy beard seat himself in the hall. When the hall was darkened, she found herself staring at him, and he stared back. She had a strong feeling that it was Elvis. Thus, do we have a Christy Lane Elvis connection? Don't know. All right. So 1987, she said, but I have a copy of this record, and it's actually copyright date 1986. Vulcan Records in Birmingham, Alabama, released the song Down in Mississippi, recorded by a mysterious Stephen Silver, who turned out to be Jimmy Ellis. That's who they gave credit for. Down in Mississippi appeared as part of the Toronto, Canada's Aaron Records on the New Beginnings, sung by Orion, who supposedly is Jimmy Ellis. The lyrics of Down in Mississippi follow. So my question is, okay, she probably will cover this more, but why would it be recorded on a separate, let's say, a different underneath a different name, alias Stephen Silver? If it was Jimmy Ellis, why didn't he just use his name? That's a good question. All right, so I'm just going to put this on, and you guys can enjoy this song. Oh, wait a minute, that's not it. This one is. So it kind of sounds weird for me at the beginning, but anyway.
I remember down in Mississippi, they'd pick cotton in the sun, and I'd sing with the black folks when the day was done. And I dreamed even then that the world would be my stage, and someday my shoes would shake loose the Mississippi clay. And we moved on up to Memphis, just trying to survive. I cut a record for my mama, and almost overnight the colonel signed me up. I was living out my dream. My mama was so proud when you called me the king. Down in Mississippi, I play my guitar, sing my rock and roll songs, and dream I'd be a star. I went from down in Mississippi to Nashville, Tennessee, but my shoes never should lose the Mississippi clay. day I was no longer a kid in a Cadillac, just an old rock and roller, tired of coming back. I was a prisoner of my fame, and when my mama died, the Lord seemed to say to me, you need to change your life. But I was much too big to just turn my back and leave. So I changed the way I look, now no one knows me. Everybody in the world believes the king is gone, but I'm down in Mississippi, and it's good to be back home. Down in Mississippi, not far from Tupelo, beneath a magnolia tree and an old dusty road. Oh, I sing and play my guitar, sitting in the shade. Oh, my blue suede shoes are home at last in this Mississippi clay. You know I sure do miss you folks. Until we meet again. Adios.
Now, it's up to you guys to decide if you think that's Elvis or if you think that's Jimmy Ellis. And to me, it doesn't matter because they both sound alike. I'm going to lean toward more Elvis myself, the way he says guitar and the way he says certain words in that song. And definitely his sound of his voice is sometimes could be a little different or whatever. But anyway, so now I'm going to finish reading the commentary and then I'm going to stop and we'll pick up next week covering Orion a little bit more. All right. So the singer speaks the last time and he says, you know, I do sure miss you folks until we meet again. Adios. Again, there are those who wonder if perhaps two voices exist on the album and if there's an Elvis-Ellis connection. According to Alan Damrod, the writer of Discoveries magazine, Elvis knew of Jimmy Ellis in the early 1970s. Steve Kelly wrote, Damron worked for Jimmy Ellis and was also a friend of Elvis's for about 8 years. Damron said that Kelly gave Elvis some of Ellis's recordings. Kelly doesn't know whether Elvis or Ellis ever met. Now, I heard that they knew each other too before Elvis did away with the image. All right. So Luke Dion, a producer of Gail Productions in Montreal, Canada, told me earlier this spring that recently in checking out Aaron Records, ARON, on Toronto, its charter background, he was informed that an American had applied for a corporation application in late 1989. When Mr. Dion asked the American's name, he was told it was John Burroughs. Later, Mr. Dion went to Toronto to see the paperwork and was told no such name existed. I'm telling you, Mr. Dion swore to me that I was told this name, John Burroughs, several times. In Is Elvis Alive? I mentioned that there is an Elvis Presley licensing agent in Japan called Orion Press. So, as for Jimmy Ellis or Orion, the question remains, is there room in this world for both a Leonardo da Vinci and a Michelangelo? Jimmy Ellis wonders. Ellis is definitely not Elvis Presley. He is not a Presley impersonator. Nevertheless, this tremendous talent has been penalized for possessing a living voice closest to Elvis, other than Elvis himself. Mickey Gilley sounds like Jerry Lee Lewis, and there are Engelbert Humperdinck and Tom Jones. Yet somehow, sadly, Ellis is pushed aside by many DJs because he sounds too much like the king, they say. And there is only one Elvis. So would when Michelangelo come along? Such men have rejected his God-given gift on the grounds that he was too close to Leonardo, saying there was only one Da Vinci. The indictment would have allowed us the splendor of the Mona Lisa while denying us the glorious view of the Sistine Chapel. So although I do not like what happened to my novel Orion via Sun Records was touched up upon in Is Elvis Alive, which I have done about 3 or 4 videos from that reading. Sun Records acted unprofessionally when it would never enter into any legal agreement whereby my novel and all its characters would be used to sell its Orion's albums. I can appreciate the fact that Ellis has been a victim too. Rumors and mystique continue to plague the singer Ellis Orion. So we're going to stop there because she's going to go into Orion and Jimmy Ellis further. I think she had mentioned this in prior videos that I have covered about this mysterious singer, Steven Silver. Well, Silver is has the same number of letters as Elvis. If you were to turn the letters around, it would equal Elvis. Also, what was really mysterious about Steven Silver, which was located in this book, is Elvis Alive, which I have read already. Sorry, my background is like I've read this already, and all of the videos are in the live stream. You guys can see that anytime you want.
Hey, Joey.
The singer, what?
You do know that Christy Lane is married to Lee Stoller.
I do.
Yeah.
I think I
she's getting up. That. She's like 85 now.
Yeah. Yeah, she's married to Lee Stoller. Exactly. And I mean, if it was another artist that was recording Spelling on the Stone, why in the world would they put up a roost like that or a roost like that in the first place, since they were considered Christian artists? You know, she sang Christian music, gospel music, and so on. So, but I do have prior videos covering this. But what was interesting about Steven Silver was that she said, and she called about that, the particular artist said, nope, he has only one song that he's singing. His identity is private. No one knows. He was using Alias, and he wasn't going to do any touring or any other recording or any other reading, any other records. And then all of a sudden, the song shows up. Now, that particular Vulcan Records was in 1986, according to the record that I have. But it also shows up in the 1989 record, in Beginnings of Orion. Same exact recording, doesn't change, voice doesn't change. And I know that we have some songs on that Orion album that sound a lot more like Elvis than Jimmy Elvis. We also know that Elvis used Orion as an alias as well, and had admitted to Liquid Sigmund that he did sing some Orion songs. Okay, so now I'm going to go into the comments because I think it's time. I think I let it off with Gary.
Yeah.
Hi, Julianne. How are you tonight? Hi, Jermaine. How are you? Hi, Rita. Oh, nice to see you. I'm glad you made it on okay. Hi, Francis. Jim already said hello to everybody. Right, no artist name. Well, that's a given. Exactly. It was an anonymous record. I still have the record here. I don't have it with me right now, but I'll pull it out. It says anonymous on the record. And I firmly believe it is Elvis singing that, and I believe that too. And I think he did sing Down in Mississippi. As a matter of fact, after I get listening to Down in Mississippi, I've had listened to Elvis singing a couple of his some of his gospel songs, and you can hear some of the tones in his voice and the way he says certain words. Definitely sounds like Elvis to me. No problem, Judy. How are you tonight? Love all the songs on the Spelling on the Stone album. Yes, and I do have every song on video here on this channel. If anyone wants to listen to them, they are there underneath the video tab. They were done like last year, but I do have them all there. I will have to watch the video later. Yes. Right. And Christy Lane is married to Lee Stoller. Yes. And that's why. And I think he was her manager as well. And he ran LS Records. LNS meant Lee Stoller. Hi, Purple Green. No problem. That's all right. You think it's Elvis. Okay, good. Hi, Fran. Purple Green. Okay. It's Elvis, definitely. I know it's Elvis. It's Elvis, unless he changed his type of singing. Nope. I definitely think it's Elvis. Even the speaking spots, because one day when I was listening to Elvis radio and there was a recording he had, I think it was when he was live. I'm not sure exactly if it was. He said Mississippi. I think it was U.S. Mail when he was speaking at the beginning of U.S. Mail. And he said what he was from Mississippi and those types of things. The tone of the voice sounded a lot like the speaking spot of this song as well. But the way he said guitar, the way he said Tupelo, the way he said day or what was the other word I'm thinking of? There was just the way he said sang. There was another song that I'm thinking of. I mean, another word in the song that I was thinking of that are very reminiscent of Elvis pronunciations and not Jimmy. I think it's because we had audio interview recording and then we're talking about Christy Lane. Well, no one knows for sure. That's the problem, Mary. No one knows for sure. It was never confirmed that I know of. I mean, rumor has it that it might be. I mean, it's not confirmed publicly, but we will cover that a little bit too. Yes. All right. Yeah, they're pretty old. Is Lee Stoller still alive? I don't know. I think Christy Lane's still alive though. I'm not sure about Lee Stoller.
Yeah, Christy's still alive. I don't know about Lee.
Yeah. You, Jim, but still a bit younger than Elvis. Yeah, she's younger than Elvis. Oops. I'm not sure. I think I lost Jim again. He goes in and out. Okay. Happy summer to you too. I forgot it is summer solstice today. You're right. The first day of summer. Elvis could change his voice if he wanted to. Yeah, Elvis could sing many different ways. he could sing to sound like Jimmy as well. Jimmy had a hard time sounding like Elvis, though. He couldn't do certain nuances of the way he sang. But Elvis had a lot of feeling, emotion stuff. Do you agree with me? Well, I'm glad. All right. Diana's hoping that Jim's daughter's doing. As far as I know, she came home. She's quite burnt, though. Keep her in your prayers. Still dealing with a lot of burns. Okay. Those of you that are not on Facebook, Jim's daughter had a fire in her camper. She was living in a camper, and she escaped. She saved her daughter, but she got a lot of burns, especially her ears, her face, her arms. So keep her in your prayers. Her name is Heather. We lost Jim. I don't know where he went. But anyway. All right. So if there are no other comments, yes, Mary, prayers, definitely. Person's voice will change depending on how often you sing and change with age. I'm not sure if it's Elvis Singer, but it's close. Right. And if he had sang enough, he might have not even had his voice warmed up enough, but yeah, I don't know. We lost Jim here, but we'll just say we're sorry to hear that, Jim. Yeah, so just keep her in your prayers. She did go home, though, from the burn hospital. I think it was yesterday. He sent me a picture. I don't want to because it's too gruesome. She's got scars on her face and stuff. She's very fortunate and blessed to still be alive. Let's just say that. He showed me a video of the camper on fire, and it was amazing that she got out. Safe and alive. I mean. Yes, Jim, I was telling them about your daughter because Diana Smith mentioned asking about your daughter, and I told them that she was burned in a camper fire.
Yeah, she's home now.
Yeah. In a lot of pain still, she said.
Yeah.
She's very, very
Go
fortunate.
home, Maury.
Yeah, very, very fortunate.
She had first and second degree burns over 30% of her body.
Yeah. Did they ever find out what the cause of that was?
Electrical.
Oh. Wow. When you ever showed me the video of the fire, I was like, oh my gosh, she's so fortunate that she got your granddaughter out of there. Too.
Luckily, she woke up. She was asleep when it happened.
Jesse Elvis is way better now after when he had his tiny stroke. As far as I know, he's doing okay. I don't know how much better he is. I'm sure that he had to have some type of therapy. But as far as he's doing better as far as that's concerned.
Yeah, that's what Aaron and them told me yesterday. He was doing okay.
Yeah. So thankful Jim's daughter and granddaughter are safe. Yes, and I'm assuming your granddaughter came out uninjured too, right?
Yeah.
It was very, very. They were very.
Well, my
very,
daughter woke up and the trailer was engulfed in flames. Well, she went through the flames, went out the door. Well, my granddaughter was in the back of the travel trailer in the back bedroom there, trying to get the window open, screaming for her mama. Well, my daughter went around there. She had the window about half open. My daughter went around there and ripped the window off the side of the camper and pulled her through the hole. Or she got burnt. She had a little bit of smoke inhalation, but she didn't even have to go to the hospital.
Right. Sandy says it's Elvis. Well, good. Rita's thumbs up. Updates on Jess. Yeah. Nope. That's the only update I got was that he's doing okay. Sandy says, wow, sorry about that awful accident, Jim. Yes. And she's now home, so that's a good thing, and recovering.
Yeah. She called me this morning and told me all them burns on her face and stuff. Said it was itching like hell. I said that's 'cause it's healing.
Yeah, she's gonna have some scars there, though. I don't know what they're gonna do about that. Is she gonna have to put some? Did they give her some type of special cream or something for that?
Oh, she told me they told her to put triple antibiotic ointment on it.
Oh,
I figured they'd give her some silverdine cream or something, but they didn't.
he said purple green. Jim said it was an electrical fire. It started in her
Yeah,
camp.
they said it was the air conditioner caught fire.
Oh, the air conditioner. Okay. Yes. Prayers for healing. Glad Jim is hearing more updates often about JCE. Yes. Oh, Linda did too, and it's the same reaction. So yeah, same. No, All right. He deals with the telephone problems too. She said. So great. Think we're going to be
Marley,
done? Huh?
come here, girl. Yeah, what you doing, baby? You good girl. Girl. Yeah.
So I'm going to finish with this song. You're never too old to rock and roll. I only play like half of it. You guys have a great night. God bless you all. See you next Saturday. We'll do more about Orion and Jimmy Ellis and
Yeah.
that some more. But this is from the New Beginnings album, and this song reminds me so much of Elvis's voice. And it sounds like it was like a live recording a concert or something. So I thought I would play like a little bit of it. It could be Jimmy, it could be Elvis. We don't know. But it sounds a lot like Elvis. Well, sung like Elvis. So you guys make up your own mind, and no answer is wrong.
Well, we've been rocking around the clock since 55. So let the good time roll one more time tonight. And when my hair starts turning gray, you still gonna hear me say, you're never too old.
Thank you, you
To
too.
rock and roll. I saw her dancing on my TV, American Bandstand. There was a whole lot of shaking going on all across the land. And said the fad would never last. After a long, long time ago, you're never too old. Ooh, to rock and roll. Well, believe me that rock and roll, it still thrills my soul. You're never too old. Never too old. To rock
Really?
and roll.
You get a dog with you, Jim?
Yeah.
Nice. God bless you. All right. That's up to you to decide who you think is singing that song. It sounds like Elvis to me, but it could be Jimmy. I don't know.
That's what I said. That sound like Elvis. Don't sound like Jimmy.
Right.
Jimmy had a beautiful voice, but it was a long shot from being Elvis's voice.
Right. And I mean that voice, the high voice, Jimmy's high voice wasn't like that. It didn't sound like that to me. His falsetto was weird too. You think it's
She's already loose again.
Huh? Oh. That's what I thought. I think it's Elvis too. All right. So there'll be some other songs I have from the New Beginnings album that I have that I'll share with you guys next week. Okay, Jimmy believes it's Elvis. I'll dance jive to the music. Okay. Well, I'll let you guys finish it since it's catchy and I like it. How many years were there between Elvis and Jimmy? I think Jimmy was born in 1945, or maybe 10
Yeah.
years.
10 years difference.
Yeah,
Jimmy
they
was
were 10
born in
years apart.
45.
Right. Yeah, it sounds live at the end, I think. That's Elvis? Okay.
Well, last night
Marley,
my
come on.
dad went
Come
down
on,
to
girl.
the rock and roll show. It was a revival, so her mama took the Bible and he said, let's go. She kept dancing all the way home.
Marley,
Tore all
come
over
on,
my
girl.
dad's clothes,
What
so
are you
you're
doing,
never
baby?
too old
What are you doing?
to rock and roll.
Stay back. He's over here.
Well, believe that
Go on,
rock
Marley.
and roll, oh, it still fills my soul. You're never too old to rock and roll. Yeah, when my hair starts turning gray, still gonna hear you say,
Alabama.
oh, you're never too old
Alice
to rock and roll.
Alabama.
I said you're never too old to rock and roll. I said you're never too old. Yeah, to rock and roll. Yeah.
Julie was asking where did Jimmy grow up. Jimmy grew up in Alabama.
Yeah. Actually, I think that one wasn't the live one. I'm thinking the other one is. I'm sorry, guys. There's another one that I have that sounds like Elvis, but then I listen to it again and think it's Jimmy. I get them always confused. This one's my favorite. All right, anyway. Does Jim know who Jimmy's mom was?
All I
Jimmy's
know
mom's
is
name was Gladys.
her name was
Bell.
Gladys Bell on his birth certificate, and where
Yeah.
it said father, it didn't have a last name, just said Vernon.
Yeah, and that was his birth certificate, and he was adopted. So. Okay, so you guys have a good night, guys. Bye. You want to stay on for a minute, Jen?
Oh.